Hey there, V2X Nation and friends. This is Hope Skibitsky, the Learning and Development Manager at V2X. And you're with us here on Converging on Leadership, the place where we use transparency, vulnerability, and lessons learned to develop ties with our leadership to help us better serve all of our internal and external customers.
Hey, podcasters. Can you picture yourself with a challenging, rewarding career as a commercial and defense contractor? Maybe you're already working for V2X and would like to expand your horizons with a new opportunity, or you're interested in getting started with us. V2X is here for you. We have a wide array of job openings, some for those who want to support the United States military warfighters, and for those of you who are interested in the ultra-secure world for one of our country's three-letter agencies. We pride ourselves in developing our employees for future opportunities. Did we mention we have locations and positions all across the globe? If you're interested in a rewarding profession that pays well with competitive benefits, check out our website at gov2x.com/careers.
I'm back with Karl Sagstetter, Vice President, Base Operations Support, and we're going to talk a little bit today about collaboration and teamwork. So, as we're in part 2 of this series, and we've been talking about leading through change, what we want to do is get into a little bit about how collaboration and teamwork can make that happen. Great. Ease some of the pain, get through reducing redundancies, getting us to be a little more effective, streamlining processes. So I want to pick your brain and understand why you would say fostering collaboration and teamwork matter.
Okay, great. I look forward to it.
Okay, so let's dig into that. Why would you say that there's a difference between those two terms? Because some people think they're interchangeable, and I'm not sure I think that.
Well, I think, we're all, when we think teams, right, to use a sports analogy, you look at a football team, right? So there's 50 plus players. They're all part of the team, but they don't always all play. And some players play more, and some players have more of an impact, and some maybe it's less. But they're all part of one team.
I like it.
But for me, collaboration, I don't want to say we're equal partners, but we're kind of working together.
I see. So I can be on a team with somebody, and us have to do teamwork because we're all giving our own input.
Yes.
But collaboration might be, if I come to you and say, hey, there's this specific part and I think that you can offer something, let's collaborate on how we can get to a better yes.
To a specific goal per se.
I like it.
How many of us have done brainstorming exercises, right? Well, that's classic collaboration.
I like that.
Where you're throwing ideas together. Everybody has their own idea. There's no right or wrong or answer. But you're collaborating as a group and everybody feels part of that group. Now, I think there's also something to be said about collaborative teamwork. I think they can coexist.
Sure.
But typically teamwork, you have a specific goal. You may have a leader, not necessarily a leader in collaboration, right? We're just working together.
That's right. Yeah. Why? Why, though, is it not every individual for themselves? Why do you think that it's important that we understand how important teamwork and collaboration are to get us through change?
Well, for example, we talked this morning with the top talent group, to bring that up again, right?
Sure.
This particular group is 16 individuals brought together across V2X from various organizations and programs, and that group is going to collaborate together, but they're also part of a team. So there's certain exercises that I think they're going to go through. There's three main projects that they're given, and so they're going to work as a team with a leader to have a specific goal in mind. I was talking recently with Erin Cunningham. She's one of our directors of finance in V2X.
Okay.
And she was part of the last top talent group, and they had a project on closing out on how to close out a program or a project. So we have a contract to do program X for 5 years, and it comes up at the end of the 5 years. So they actually for 2 years worked on this process to close out a project.
Okay.
And now we as a company have that in our toolbox, right? and we can go pull that off of the shelf, and we can use their experience that they did and they developed it, and we can go close out a program.
I like that.
Yeah.
So as a team, they work together to come up with best practices.
Exactly, yeah.
Or even if it's not yet a best practice, there's an outline and direction, which helps people know where to go. And so I guess in doing that sort of teamwork and collaboration piece, we're drawing on the expertise of other people who might be able to bring in things that help us get projects or tasks across the goal line.
And I would, looking at their group, there were probably some members of the team that had more experience with it.
Okay.
Maybe there were members of the team that were from a business line or a finance line or an operations line. So they have varying levels of experience or expertise in that.
Oh, I love it.
But they all collaborated together.
The diversity of experiences and thoughts. I mean, diversity is a huge part of our company. I've loved that since I've been here. But that diversity of thought, coming together as a team, collaborating to get to a best practice. Yeah, I love it. And so I know that you have a lot of lessons learned, both from your time in the Air Force and your time in the company, of times when teamwork maybe was sailing, but you probably also have some things in your toolbox of when teamwork was failing.
Yes.
What are some things you think that are barriers to appropriate or effective teamwork and or collaboration?
I think for me, when I look back at, maybe I'll say, because we always learn from our mistakes, right?
Okay.
And we learn from our errors. When I look back at things where I was maybe part of a team where we just didn't work together or it didn't work, I think part of it was we didn't understand each other, right? And some of it was just maybe egos, or I was in it for myself, or we were in it for individuals. But we didn't have a common goal, or we didn't have a common output. We talked about that a little bit in change, right? But if you can't have a common goal as a group, I think you're going to struggle a little bit with teamwork and collaboration.
That's fair, because sometimes people get into a project trying to think how they might be highlighted, how it might serve them better, who they can maybe get their face in front of. I mean, this is, an over-exaggeration, but sometimes people aren't in a team necessarily to provide their best self as a team member, right? If they're not the team lead, they don't want to be anything at all, right?
We often hear the phrase, check your ego at the door. So I think as we go through this as an organization, the more we can collaborate together, right?
Sure.
With no agendas. I mean, let's do the betterment of the company. Let's do the betterment of our programs that we work with, right, in our business units.
I love that.
And I think we'll be, then we'll be very successful.
How do you prevent that, though? I mean, when we're talking about teamwork, and we know that in order to excel at anything, whether it be a simple project or a huge merger, when we're going to excel at something, we're always going to run into those people who want to be in charge, and if they're not in charge of a thing, then they don't want any part of it. How do you prevent some of that proverbial sit at the table with your elbows out, trying to take up as much space as humanly possible? Like, how do you prevent that?
Yeah, I think if it's you and me, I think if I was doing that, I would hope you would just smack me upside the head or something and say, "Hey, Carl, man, what the heck are you doing here?" Right? It's not cool. So I think the onus is on just use that as an example. It's on all of us. And if you and I were part of an organization, or we're part of a group, and there's four of us, and I'm a little bit out of line, then I would hope you could say, "Hey, man, come on."
Sure. I think what you're saying then is, one, if we're not willing to trust each other enough to tell somebody that they got something in their teeth, then we're going to fail. But also, it goes back to what you said last episode, was communication, right? I can't sit and think bad things about you or talk about you to somebody else. I need to have a conversation with you. Sometimes people just don't know that they're, being a jerk or failing to be a good part of a team.
And I mean, you said trust, but I mean, how important is that?
Oh, sure.
I mean, let's be honest, right? If you don't have trust in your organization, and if you don't have trust in your group, I think you're going to struggle, whether or not we're going through change and whether or not we're trying to grow as an organization. It's one of our bedrocks.
So you'd say trust is foundational in teamwork?
I think so.
I think so too, especially like how many times in my life have I seen people like hold their cards close to their chest because they're so afraid that somebody's going to steal their work, call it their own, where if we're going to collaborate or network, I have to trust that if I give you something that you're going to give credit where credit is due or allow me to continue to be a part of that project.
It's funny you mention that because I'm a keep my cards close to my chest kind of guy.
Oh, no, I don't believe it at all. I don't believe it.
I am.
Since I've been in the company, I've reached out to you so many times. You've been so willing to share.
Yes, but behind that, unfortunately, It's something I know that I do and always have to work on.
Well, we'll continue working on you. So far, though, I don't see it.
Yeah, sir.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about sometime when you have seen teamwork or collaboration take something to the next level that has really seen something sail towards success. What things were those teams doing that maybe worked so well?
Well, we when I look back at the last couple of years as the organization that I worked with in the programs, the company V2X, we have an annual award, and it's called a team award. And I think when I looked at the teams that have been selected for that, and first and foremost, the teams that get all the teams that get nominated, and I've had the privilege and pleasure to read some of the nomination packages, and when you look at that and what they've accomplished, it's pretty remarkable. And just recently with our company, a significant event of us was supporting the drawdown of Afghanistan.
Okay.
And whether you were in the ITMS space, some of the last people out of Afghanistan were V2X employees that were closing down the network as the military got on the plane.
That's interesting.
And then when you look at where those refugees went to, and I don't want to miss anyone or forget anyone, but to the Navy hosted some at Shakey's Air Base. The Army brought some into Kuwait and Qatar, and then the Air Force at Al Udeid. All of those components were hosted by V2X people, and so that is a true definition of what a team is, right? And they were different people, different organizations, but collectively, that was teamwork, right? Purely definition of working together. Did they have a leader? Sure they did, right? Did they check their egos at the door? You bet they did.
Had to.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an old African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that definitely sounds like they were going together.
They're going together.
I love that. And so the award then allows us to recognize
those people, and those groups, yeah.
And I think that's important because we talked last episode about leading through change. And so leadership, there's that full range leadership development that people talk about. And one of those does include things like contingent reward, which is recognizing people for their hard work. Right. That means a lot to a lot of people. And
even if you don't, obviously you want to win, right?
Sure.
But just the fact, I think, that as an organization, we need to take the time to recognize people. And if you put me up for an award, if you just say, hey, Karl, you and your team were put up for this award, I'm grateful that you took the time to recognize me.
Even if I don't win, you thought enough of me to put me in for that.
Take the time, and so that's important.
Oh, I love it. It's like that proverbial pat on the back. Like,
yeah.
It's telling people that you appreciate what they're doing. And I think that that's a huge part of building trust, building relationships, and I think all of that helps us make stronger, better teams that collaborate to get the mission done.
But we need to keep in mind, this isn't easy, right?
That's right.
Okay, let's be honest. Let's be honest. We've all been part of collaboration efforts and brainstorming efforts and teaming efforts where you leave and you go, what was that all about?
That's right. Yeah. Or did it even work?
Did it even work?
Yeah. And so how do we keep people from getting discouraged if because there's the parts of making a team. You form, you storm, you norm, and you conform, I think are the stages. But how do you keep people from being discouraged when at first they don't succeed?
I think if it all goes back to us as people, individuals, right? I think as long as we're truly genuine with each other, we'll recognize that we're going to have failures. But if you and I are working together as a team and we stumble together, then we both pick each other up. But when we're struggling and when we fall on our own and no one's there to pick you up, then I think that's when we're going to struggle. So as long as I don't want to fail.
That's right.
But I'd rather fail with you than fail by myself, right?
That's right. I personally think there's a lot of power in failure, right? Because people glean a lot from, a fail helps you understand maybe where you went wrong. It's prototyping, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that if we can demonstrate for people that failures happen even in teamwork, but to your point, I have a teammate to help pick me up, dust me off, and get back into the game, right? And
as leaders in the organization, Hope, we have to recognize that too, right? So if we have a group that's going through, I mean, look, let's be honest, there's going to be a lot of change right now.
That's right.
And we're talking business systems, HR systems, and we're trying to grow together. And we're going to have groups that are working through collaboration and teamwork. But as a leader, if you sense they're struggling, then jump in and encourage them, right? Pick them up. Maybe we need to vector their goals, change their goals a little bit midstream.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I like that. Like if at first you don't succeed, move the goalpost back, right? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I think sometimes it's important for people to realize that, it's okay to stumble and that kind of stuff. No, I think it's good. I also think it's really important for leaders to realize that they're still a part of the team.
Exactly.
Right? Like you have to be accessible. You have to be approachable. You've got to be vulnerable. Your people have to know they can come to you. How do you demonstrate that vulnerability with your team to allow them to feel comfortable coming to you sometimes even with the hard stuff, maybe the cusp of failure?
Well, I mean, what I try to talk to our team about is we're all in this together. And I'm just one person of a business unit, right? And that business consists of people from all across the company. But I can't do it by myself. And so if I was talking this morning, we had an issue with one of our programs, and we're going to get through it. But first and foremost, we had to recognize the problem.
That's right.
And then, if I tell my boss we have a problem, but we have a solution, right? And so, like I said, none of us want to fail, but we just have to work together.
I love it. And I love that you get vulnerable with your team, right? Like, don't make them believe that everything is unicorns and rainbows.
Right.
Oftentimes, if they have that buy-in that you mentioned, they'll feel like, well, this is my responsibility to help fix this.
This is a tough business.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a tough industry. And look, we love the services, right? I mean, that's right. What we do. We are in the defense business. And the more we can also work together and focus on the mission and the customer. I mean, whether you served or in the military or not, to me, it doesn't really matter.
That's right.
Because we're all working together, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love that you bring your experiences and that you allow people to see what it is you're doing. Like when you walked into the top talent classroom and you're talking to all of our new next level bench of potential future leaders, you were willing to tell those folks, like, here are some of the things I learned. Mm-hmm. And so not only demonstrating that vulnerability, giving them that trust, talking to them about collaboration and teamwork, but also showing them that you're willing to talk with my boss, Randy, you're in with learning and development. That cross-pollination, as you discussed it this morning, I think is important, because if they see the leaders doing it, active, visible leadership stirs people to want to think differently than maybe they are already.
When so after this morning, and to carry on your point, one of the people in the class I happen to know, I've worked with them before. They came up to me and they actually said, "Hey," they were scared about coming to Top Talent.
Really?
And I was like, I was scared to come talk this morning. And they looked at me like, really? I go, yeah. I mean, I was scared. Now, what was I? I was scared of, I had to prepare, but you have to be scared in what you do. Otherwise, you can get too flippant.
That's right.
And you're not prepared. I was scared to come on here with you today.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but that scared is good.
I think it's good.
Yeah,
I think it's the same energy that a runner gets when they're lined up on the blocks getting ready to take off, that sort of anxious energy that's filling inside of you. I think that if we don't have some of that nervous, anxious energy, we get complacent.
You get complacent, exactly.
Yeah. No, and I, like I said, for you to demonstrate that vulnerability, even with our top talent attendees.
I was like, I'm scared too.
Oh my gosh. Do you know how much that's going to give them to say, hey, look, even if we look up and see that person is scared, then that means I'm going to get there. It's going to be okay.
We're all going to be in this together.
So I think it's brilliant because not only are they a team in their own right at whatever their program level is, but they're a team in their cohort.
Yep.
And they're a team with you as well, and they see you teaming with the rest of the company. I don't know. I think that there's a lot to be said for both symbolism as well as, presence. People's experiences shape their perspectives. And so their experience of you demonstrating that vulnerability will always allow them the opportunity to believe that there's a human underneath that suit coat.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
I know. Yeah. I might be a little biased, my fellow Air Force brethren here, but are there any other things that you would like to, share with our audience as we talk about teamwork and collaboration?
Well, Hope, I think, first of all, I enjoy this discussion.
Thank you.
And I think it's, obviously it's beneficial for me and it's for you. And I just, when we look at V2X, one of the questions that came in this morning was what sets us apart, right? And I had to answer, I don't necessarily know any other company. So I don't know what other companies do, but I just know what we do. And learning and developing our people is what helps set us apart. Just taking the time to recognize whether you're part of the top talent group or not, it doesn't really matter. What matters is we're trying to provide opportunities for men and women to grow. And whether that's through you and Randy and you guys are going to travel around and make an impact, that's what makes us a little bit different.
I'm excited about that. Yeah. I'm excited about
that. It's cool, isn't it?
I love the idea of getting out and meeting all of our folks and seeing what they're up to. And of course, I'm open to learning, so I love to see and hear what it is we do across the globe. Yeah. This was great. Thanks for spending time with me.
Thank you very much.
I look forward to the next time we have you on.
Well, me too.
Okay. Very good. Well, this is great. So there we are, folks. This is Karl Sagstetter on collaboration and teamwork. Please subscribe to Converging on Leadership on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Find us on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/company/V2X-Inc. And please let us know what you think of our show and what future topics you'd like us to cover. Converging on Leadership is produced by kglobal and brought to you by V2X. V2X transforms operations and sustainment for government and commercial clients worldwide through operational support services, training, and converged environments that integrate physical and digital infrastructures. Learn more at gov2x.com. And until next week, I'm Hope Skibitsky, and thanks for listening.